My name's Marcus Webb. 3 years ago, if you'd told me I'd be taking down a criminal empire, I would have laughed. I'm a 52-year-old electrician who just wanted a quiet life after my wife passed. We moved to Pinewood Estates because Sarah fell in love with the big backyards and the promise of community. Now, the smell of cedar and WD-40 in my garage workshop is all I have left of our life together. It's where I keep my hands busy to keep my mind off the empty house. And in the driveway sits the treasure. A Polaris Sportsman ATV, Sarah's last anniversary gift. Promise me you'll still take those weekend trail rides, she'd whispered, her hand weak as she pressed the keys into my palm. Don't let my leaving stop you from living. So, no, it isn't just a toy, it's a promise. Pinewood Estates seemed perfect at first, with reasonable HOA dues. Then I met Brenda Hutchinson, the HOA president, and suddenly, nothing made sense. She runs this neighborhood like her personal kingdom, systematically bullying any opposition. She'll find the Johnsons $150 because their mailbox was hunter green instead of forest green and brought paint swatches to prove it. Her daughter, Kaylee, a 19-year-old dropout, treats our streets like a racetrack, leaving the smell of burnt rubber in the air. But I didn't grasp the full scope of Brenda's tyranny until a bright yellow citation appeared on my door. Unauthorized recreational vehicle storage. $200 fine. My ATV was in my own driveway. At the next HOA meeting, I presented my covenant documents. There's no mention of ATV restrictions anywhere in here, I stated. The room went silent. Neighbors avoided my gaze. Brenda's smile never wavered, but her eyes turned to ice. Rules evolve, Mr. Webb. We maintain property values through adaptive governance. If you can't keep up, maybe this isn't the right neighborhood for you. I wasn't backing down, and neither was my ATV. 2 weeks later it happened. Kaylee was in my driveway, hooking my ATV to a trailer. The rage that shot through me was electric. What the hell are you doing? She just laughed. Just removing this eyesore like Mum said. That's my property. You can't steal it. Mum says it's illegally parked. We're just helping you comply. Her boyfriend, a kid with dead eyes and a bulge under his jacket, never looked up. This wasn't a prank. It was organized intimidation. I called 911. 45 minutes later, Officer Davidson arrived, his reluctance obvious. He listened to my story, then Kaylee's lie that I'd let her borrow it, and declared his hands were tied. Then Brenda's white Mercedes pulled up, and the charade was complete. She produced a fake covenant amendment for the officer, who eagerly accepted her story. After he left, her mask dropped. You have 72 hours to remove that vehicle, she hissed. Next time, we won't be so accommodating. That night I went to the county courthouse. Years of rewiring houses taught me that when a system doesn't add up, you trace it back to the source. And Brenda's story was full of shorts. Discovery 1. Her amendment was never filed. She'd used fake paperwork on a cop. Discovery 2. The HOA's overpriced landscaping contractor was a shell company owned by her husband, Rick, funneling HOA money directly into their pockets. The next day, I posted my findings to the neighborhood Facebook group. Within an hour, the post was flooded with supportive comments from neighbors fighting their own bogus fines. Then, just as quickly, my access was revoked, but the damage was done. That afternoon, an anonymous note appeared on my windshield. Drop this or things get much worse. They had no idea what they were dealing with. The harassment campaign was relentless. Fines for excessive grass height on a freshly mowed lawn. Violations for my house numbers, which were identical to everyone else's. Brenda began parking across the street, photographing my property with a telephoto lens like a stalker. But not everyone was intimidated. Rita Gonzalez, the former HOA treasurer, came to me with photocopied financial records. The numbers were staggering. Inflated contracts for pool maintenance, phantom security patrols, and undocumented fees. I started questioning these expenses, Rita explained, and Brenda pressured me to resign. Harold Chen, a retired accountant, joined our cause. He transformed his dining room into a mission control center, exposing a pattern of systematic theft. This isn't just corruption, he declared. This is professional-grade money laundering. The scheme was simple. Rick's pharmaceutical company was a front. He used it to funnel money from Mexico, which was then washed clean through the HOA's inflated contracts. Brenda's iron-fisted control wasn't about power. It was about protecting a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise. The final piece fell into place when Kaylee's boyfriend was arrested for drug trafficking, facing federal charges. He confessed everything. Rick wasn't at pharmaceutical conferences. He was importing illegal drugs. Our HOA dues were washing cartel money. That's when I stopped being a victim and became a federal informant. I called the DA. Agent Rodriguez met me at a coffee shop, and after reviewing my evidence, her eyes lit up. Mr. Webb, she said, you've just handed us the missing piece of a federal investigation. This connects Rick Hutchinson to a cartel operation we've been tracking for months. Within hours, my home became a federal command center. My life was no longer my own, but justice was finally within reach. The plan was set. Coordinated federal raids during the annual community barbecue. Maximum public exposure for people who thought they were untouchable. The barbecue was surreal. Neighbors grilled burgers while 37 federal agents, disguised as joggers and dog walkers, moved into position. Brenda arrived in a flowing summer dress, working the crowd with fake smiles, completely oblivious. Harold took the microphone. "Neighbors," he announced, his voice steady. "We've discovered evidence of systematic theft and money laundering connected to drug trafficking operations." The crowd went silent. Brenda's face went pale. That's when Agent Rodriguez stepped forward, her badge gleaming. "Brenda Hutchinson, you're under arrest," Brenda shrieked. "This is ridiculous. I have rights. Your husband was arrested yesterday trying to flee to Nicaragua with $200,000 in cash," Rodriguez announced. The crowd gasped. Kaylee lunged at me, screaming, "You destroyed my family." Before being intercepted by agents, the handcuffs clicked shut. As they were led away, Brenda made one last stand. "Our lawyers will have us released by tomorrow." Agent Rodriguez smiled. "Ma'am, your assets have been frozen under federal law. You won't be paying them with drug money." 6 months later, the Hutchinson house is gone, replaced by a community garden named in my wife's honor. Rick got 15 years in federal prison. Brenda got 8. Our HOA dues were cut in half. And my ATV now leads weekly trail rides, a symbol of what happens when ordinary people refuse to let bullies win. This was never about a stolen machine. It was about honoring a promise to live, and sometimes living means fighting back.